Breaking news today, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has been officially arrested at his temporary home on the Sandringham estate, which is Wood Farm. This is a huge, massive development. The first time, really, a British royal has been officially arrested.
Andrew's got to go. He's got to go. He's got to be banished, just like William and just like Harry and Meghan have to be banished.
It was like, how are you making all this money and you're not even working? She's like, oh, he buys me everything.
I think Meghan Markle will be panicking because at the end of the day, Dan, things don't make sense with Meghan Markle. That's a fact.
Justice in this country is administered in the King's name. So even his brother has to have a right to a fair trial. If the King starts opining and talking about apologies, that could cast aspersion on whether he thinks his brother is guilty or not. And it's a whole can of worms.
He also went to Heidi Klum's Halloween parties. I've seen him there.
Where?
I think she's involved. Heidi Klum's Halloween parties. He was always there every year with Epstein. They were there.
There seems to be no indication from the monarchy about how they will fix and avoid something like this in the future. I feel like almost there's sort of deflection. Well, this is Andrew's problem. This is not our problem. Like, this is Andrew did this. No, he was allowed to grow and was fostered under the monarchy.
David Boies, who was Virginia Roberts' attorney, who wanted to call Meghan Markle as a key witness in the civil lawsuit against Prince Andrew, were very clear and specific that Meghan Markle was a past close associate of Andrew, and she participated in everything that was going on.
It sounds like the opening scene of a royal thriller, but this time it wasn't fiction. On the morning of his 66th birthday, Prince Andrew didn't wake up to cake or quiet family calls. He woke up to flashing lights and uniformed officers at the gates of a king's private estate. Police cars rolled across royal gravel, and before the day was out, the brother of Britain's reigning monarch was under arrest, handcuffs on royal soil on his birthday.
Some stunning news out of London. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former Prince Andrew, has been arrested, presumably in connection with his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Within hours of that bombshell hitting the news cycle, something even more interesting began happening online. Meghan Markle's name started trending in comment sections, message boards, and private chats. Not in official headlines, those stayed tightly focused, but in the places where the public whispers what broadcasters won't say. The mainstream media may have avoided drawing certain lines, but audiences certainly weren't.
I'm going to show you some things just for you to get your head around this. How deep Meghan Markle was in the Epstein files. She's not sleeping well in Montecito. I can tell you that. She is absolutely not.
And here's the twist. Meghan's name wasn't surfacing because she had anything to do with the arrest itself. It was because of what this arrest cracks open. The elite circles, the long-standing connections, the uncomfortable question of who moved in whose world. And hovering over all of it is one striking detail. A woman known for never missing a moment to speak has gone completely silent. Stay with this, because the links being discussed behind the scenes are the ones no primetime anchor seems eager to unpack.
And that statement from the lawyer was so smartly worded. It was vague, and it was vague by design. So that's why I think it was a warning to Meghan. If I sit here with my professional PR hat on, looking at that statement, they go through so many drafts, and it's, up to kind of 5-10 people around a table drafting that. Every single word in a legal statement holds weight.
On February 19th, 2026, his 66th birthday, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, once Prince Andrew, Duke of York, answered his door to Thames Valley Police. He was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Not a vague rumor, not a civil dispute, a criminal investigation. And suddenly, a royal title that once opened doors around the world meant absolutely nothing in that moment.
I will preface all this to say that when it comes to the monarchy, this is not the end. This Andrew situation, even if he's arrested, It's not going to end for the royals. In fact, there's going to be longer, greater, graver consequences, I think, perhaps to come down the line. So what do we know so far? Well, we know that today is Andrew's birthday. Right after breakfast, he was officially arrested by the Thames Valley Police.
Now let's clear something up because the confusion online has been intense. This arrest is not about Virginia Giuffre. It is not directly about the sex trafficking allegations that have followed Andrew for years. That history hangs in the background. Yes, but legally this is something different. The charge centers on misconduct in public office, and that distinction matters.
The arrest is not in connection with anything to do with the sex scandal involving Epstein. This is very specifically about his behavior when he was a trade envoy, which is a government appointment. He was acting on behalf of the country for about a decade, in which he traveled around the world as a kind of business envoy for the country. And during that period, we now know from leaks from the Epstein files, he was giving Epstein, remember, a convicted pedophile, he was giving him the information he was getting, top secret information, as a trade envoy. I mean, this is treacherous, treasonous behavior by a man who is the brother of the king.
For a full decade, from 2001 to 2011, Andrew served as Britain's special representative for international trade and investment. He traveled globally: Singapore, Hong Kong, Vietnam, China. Acting as a senior envoy of the crown, he wasn't just attending ribbon cuttings, he was sitting in high-level meetings, hearing sensitive discussions, receiving confidential briefings meant strictly for government insiders.
So he's being arrested over allegations of misconduct in public office. Now that carries with it the potential of life in prison. So it is a very, very serious charge indeed. It is relating to emails that we've seen as part of the dump of Epstein correspondence earlier on in the year, 3 million emails in all, which are still being gone through. And those emails have suggested correspondence between him and Epstein when he was working as a trade envoy, and the forwarding on of potentially sensitive documents as part of his role, particularly regarding trips he undertook to Singapore, Hong Kong, and also the potential investment opportunities in Helmand province in Afghanistan.
And according to emails released through the United States Department of Justice, some of that information did not stay confidential. Investigators allege that Andrew forwarded details from official briefings to Jeffrey Epstein. Think about that. Government-level trade intelligence allegedly shared with a man whose name would later become synonymous with one of the darkest scandals of our time.
But the emails from the Department of Justice suggest that when he was in these conversations in places like Singapore, Hong Kong, I've got a list here in front of me, other countries that he went to, he would then have these kind of confidential documents in these emails, and then it looks like he was forwarding them on to Jeffrey Epstein, another one here from Vietnam, another from China. So if you look at the date on some of these emails as well, that is what is interesting. One of them here in front of me from 2010. Of course, that's well after Jeffrey Epstein had already faced charges for soliciting sex from a minor.
By 2010, the date of one of the reported emails, Epstein had already pleaded guilty to soliciting a minor for prostitution. He was a convicted sex offender, yet the alleged communication continued. This wasn't casual small talk at a party, it was sensitive information passing from a royal representative to a disgraced financier. That's the core of what police are now examining.
People at home might remember the disastrous interview he gave in 2019 to the BBC, where he said that he had traveled to the United States, to New York, to sever his ties with Jeffrey Epstein, that he was there to basically explain to him that he no longer wanted to be in communication with him. These emails from the Department of Justice suggest that that was not true, that he basically lied about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein in that interview.
The investigation didn't stop at one doorstep. Officers searched 2 royal properties at the same time. Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate, where King Charles had relocated Andrew after removing him from official duties, became part of the inquiry.
Properties belonging to the king are being searched because, remember, Prince Andrew, as he was then, was moved from the home that he lived in Windsor to the Sandringham estate, which is the private estate of the king. It's not a public palace. This is owned by the royal family privately. So you ask whether or not the king would have given his permission for this to have happened. The police arriving at the king's private estate, one imagines there must have been some kind of coordination.
And then there was Royal Lodge in Windsor, Andrew's former residence, located just miles from where Prince William and Catherine live. Police searching property on land owned by the king himself sent a powerful message. And here's the question quietly echoing behind palace walls. If Andrew is under investigation for his links to Epstein's world, who else in that extended orbit might be facing scrutiny? Because that circle was never small.
I will preface all this to say that when it comes to the monarchy, this is not the end. This Andrew situation, even if he's arrested, it's not going to end for the royals. In fact, there's going to be longer, greater, graver consequences, I think, perhaps to come down the line. So what do we know so far? Well, we know that today is Andrew's birthday. Right after breakfast, he was officially arrested by the Thames Valley Police.
King Charles's official statement added another layer of intrigue. He expressed deepest concern regarding Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, not my brother, not Prince Andrew, but his civilian name. In royal language, that choice is deafening. It signaled distance. It signaled separation. It signaled that Andrew would not be shielded by the institution this time.
I've learned with the deepest concern in the news about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and the suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair, and proper, like that he actually did not use the Oxford comma, good for King Charles and his team, by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I have said before, they have our full and wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course.
Insiders note that Charles had long opposed Andrew's appointment as trade envoy. Reports suggest he once called it a disaster waiting to happen. At the time, the late Queen supported Andrew, and Tony Blair's government approved the role. For 10 years, the position continued, but now history feels like foreshadowing.
One of the most serious crises the royal family, I would say, has ever faced in modern history.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? And I think that what we were saying before we came on air is like a couple of weeks ago, there was a statement from the palace, but to have a statement like that from the king.
Absolutely, and it is a personal statement from him. The previous statement, when Buckingham Palace made clear they were willing to help the police in their inquiries if they came to them, was stressed that it was very much coming from Buckingham Palace, not the king personally. This is a statement by the king expressing his personal concern.
What stands out today is that Charles is cooperating fully with investigators, even as they search his own estate. No visible resistance, no public defense, no rallying of royal ranks. That silence from the palace speaks volumes about how serious this situation truly is.
Getting to the point where Charles was basically had his hand forced to remove Andrew's title is an indication of failure, because Charles should have done that without the public pressure. He did sort of the bare minimum, which says, oh, Andrew won't use it anymore, like, you know, whenever he has a public event or something. I don't know. I mean, he was trying to rehab Fergie and Andrew this year still. In April, they were at Easter. They were 100% at Easter.
Traditionally, the royal family closes ranks during scandal. This time, they didn't. Commentators have described the moment as existential, not just embarrassing, but potentially transformative for the monarchy itself. Prince William, who reportedly pushed for Andrew's removal from public life years ago, now appears vindicated. Alongside Catherine, he stands among the few senior royals whose reputation remains intact after this week's headlines. That shift in internal power dynamics could matter enormously moving forward.
Because Charles, he's quite a woke guy and he believed in this concept of forgiveness. Whereas you've got William, who has been saying, Meghan, and I'm not doing William's PR here, this is honestly a fact.
Now we arrive at the name that keeps resurfacing in public discussion, Meghan Markle. Before becoming the Duchess of Sussex, before marrying Prince Harry, before global interviews and streaming deals, Meghan spent years building connections in Hollywood and elite social circles. She acted in television roles, ran a lifestyle lifestyle blog, attended high-profile events. Over the years, unproven allegations circulated online claiming she participated in exclusive yacht gatherings with wealthy figures. To be clear, those allegations have never been proven. She has never been charged or formally accused of any crime, but here's why her name is being mentioned now. The arrest of Andrew has changed how proximity to powerful circles is viewed. People are re-examining who attended which events, who shared photographs with whom, and who moved in overlapping social spaces connected to figures later scrutinized in Epstein-related reporting. Since the arrest, Meghan has made no public statement, no comment, no social media acknowledgement. For someone known for advocacy on women's issues, that silence has not gone unnoticed. Meanwhile, debates over royal titles have reignited. If Andrew can be publicly distanced from the monarchy, some argue, what about Harry and Meghan's titles? Add to that the ongoing legal battles over security funding in the UK, and public frustration grows louder. Andrew's arrest did more than target one individual. It shattered the perception that certain royals are untouchable. And when that perception disappears, it forces uncomfortable questions for everyone connected to that world. Investigations are reportedly ongoing, additional political figures face scrutiny, and more documents may emerge. The broader elite network that once seemed impenetrable now appears vulnerable. So here's the lingering question: is Meghan's silence strategic caution, or simply distance from a storm she wants no part of? As this story continues unfolding, one thing is clear: so the royal world and the powerful circles surrounding it are under a level of examination we have never quite seen before. If this story raised questions for you, drop your thoughts in the comments. Is the silence strategic or something deeper? Share this video if you think more people need to see these connections, and subscribe to Kayla Knows Royal for more unfiltered royal breakdowns.